to be honest, this is great. It's all been set up perfectly. Everything's going swimmingly. You saw the Brennus, you saw the giant Brennus, but you just see, how much excitement there is around this final. This is not a final that we're familiar with. UBB, we've never experienced this. This brings a whole different dimension. Not just the fans, but the players. They're coming into uncharted territory, and they're embracing every single second. But they haven't had too many rest days, and that could be quite an important element that comes into the 80 minutes to come.
What a view. The Mediterranean in the background. The Cathedral of St. Charles up there as well on the hill. Football is usually the religion here. Rugby, though, certainly draws them in as well. These are the moments that you remember for a lifetime. Ludovic Kerr, who had to give up playing when he was 15 because of a massive accident to his neck. Couldn't become a coach, he said, because he was too young, so became a referee instead. And he will be the referee tonight. Somewhat surprising with Mathieu Reynal coming to the end of his career, but it's a first for him. He blows the whistle. Union Bordeaux Begles kick off their first top 14 final. And they might have got in here to turn the ball over. The ball's out. In goes Maxime Lucu, trying to get that ball back. Bielbieri will have to play the scrum half in the meantime, and that is a terrific start by the first-timers, the man that everybody regards as the outsiders tonight against the big favourites Toulouse, who've been there before, done it plenty of times, even this generation. The Toulouse way has worked all the way since the early 80s. Union Bordeaux Begles, who only came into being in 2011, when they came up to the top flight, having been formed 5 years earlier, when CA Bègles and Stade Toulousain came together. Two teams that themselves had found success, indeed, against Toulouse in finals in the past. Bordeaux as a town has yet to lose a final against Toulouse. However, this is a very different way of being, and here comes Toulouse. The ball ripped away, 2 turnovers early on in the game and a minute in. Damien Penaud, what a fantastic season he's had in his first campaign since arriving from Clermont. 14 tries in top 14. And he could well go again here. Wonderful assist from him at the end of that magnificent backs move that was pretty much the only one we saw in the semi-finals. And Louis Bielbieri, who has become one of the star performers of the French national side now, one of the Galacticos of this back line, gets in and gets the ball away.
Yeah, and there's that first turnover. We just saw the pressure from Bielbieri. It was a really good kick, hung up there a long time off the kickoff, and a turnover. Bordeaux looking pretty good and looking a bit potent, but of course Toulouse, they get a turnover and they look every bit as lethal.
Good first line out from Toulouse. Antoine Dupont goes down and Jack Willis picks it up. He's had 3 injuries this season as Jack Willis, but it's a measure of just how hard he goes in to contact. He has had a magnificent time since he arrived. First when he was an England player, he no longer qualifies for them, of course, but he was so good for Toulouse, they instantly gave him a contract extension, and he's loving his time down here in the south of France, or the southwest. Dupont in and out of the Toulouse side because of his commitment to the France Sevens, in which he'll be going to the Olympic Games. We might well see him again in the summer, in the shorter version of the game. Good run. Entomek missed the World Cup with an injury. He's had a very abridged season because of that. Aki, who scored a try last week in that debilitating defeat for La Rochelle again, whom Toulouse beat in last year's final and in the 2021 edition as well. Thibaut Flamand, well hung on to by Tavita Tatafu, the Tongan-born Japanese international. And Blair Klinghorn is forced to run it into touch. He's another man who's had a magnificent first season for Toulouse. Who would have thought he would have been the main kicker in the Champions Cup final.
Well, look at the beauty that you see of Dupont. Everyone expected him to box kick. All he did was take a couple of steps, take out the first defender and feed Jack Willis. And up till that last pass, I was going to say Toulouse looked every bit like they're finding space and looking for space and reacting well and looking very dangerous. Still early days, of course, and both sides feeling one another out, but plenty to enthuse about already.
Mamadou Diaby already gasping for air, but it doesn't stop him taking the line out very successfully indeed. Here they come, the big battering ram. Tafu gets a couple of extra meters after contact, out by Jalibert. Into the path of Yoram Mafana. There are plenty of French international teammates on opposing sides tonight. Luku, another of them. Over the top by Jalibert. He's overcooked that though. Back it comes from Thomas Ramos. Into space as well. Well, I think maybe he might have been looking for the 50-22, but he got a bit of a bad bounce, but it's still a massive kick forward as Mathis Lebel watches on from the sidelines. Deprived his place in this final because of an injury picked up last weekend.
Here's this first run from Tafu, got over the advantage line. He really targeted Intermac, big man on a much smaller man, although Intermac's not shy either. And something of a perplexing decision there from Jalibert to go to touch, just maybe to keep Toulouse on the back foot and not risk it, but it certainly backfired.
Maxime Lemont, 2 tries in the semi-final from him, but that had not gone well from the line-out. Picked off by Piatu Movaka. That is not where you want to give Toulouse the ball. Out by Dupont. Romain Ntamack tries to cut back inside, and the fly half is cut down to size. Held on. Almost the ball out to Ramos. Back the other way. Into the path of François Cruz. One of the many who were involved in the Grand Slam of 2022. With a number of teammates on both sides of the ball tonight. Ramos. Short pass, Ramos takes it. Dupont, short ball. Second row, Thibaut Flamand almost through. Dupont trying to get there. Dupont reaching! And the Toulouse scrum half gets the first try, 6 minutes exactly into the final. The ball given away there by Bordeaux Begles, and they were made to pay. Although we will go up to the TMO for verification, I'm assuming about grounding. Maybe a forward pass. Let's see then what they're going to be looking at. They're talking about foul play in there as well.
Je voudrais qu'on teste, qu'on check le potentiel jeu déloyal contact à la tête sur le 12 noir.
One thing is for sure, and that is that the skills and vision of Antoine Dupont are absolutely extraordinary. He was instrumental to that entire surge forward from Toulouse. That was the one I wondered might have been a forward pass even, but then looking obviously at Tatafu's height of his tackle, I thought that was forward to Chocobares. So it looks like if they're looking at Bordeaux, the try is going to be given, and it's just a matter of whether they go back to take a more severe line on this.
Well, it's a big hit, no doubt about it, on Santiago Chocobares.
I think that was forward too, but...
Well, this was the move forward. This is after they'd given the ball away, don't forget. He's rising up. Well, a red card this early in the game would be absolutely disastrous for Bordeaux Begles.
I thought he started low and was sliding up, so I'd like to think that first contact was on the shoulder. It is what it is. But in the context of the match...
Par contre, le contact est indirect, ok, c'est d'abord, ouais, exactement, c'est d'abord au buste, la majorité de la force sur le buste, et ensuite ça touche la tête, et c'est carton jaune.
Well, a big relief for not just Tatafu, but also for Bordeaux Begles. So they still have to go 10 minutes with 14 men, but it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been, but 10 men with Toulouse with their tails up and the ability to accelerate the game when they sense a weakness is dangerous time. They could easily put 2 or 3 tries in this period. I still believe that pass was forward. I can't believe it wasn't looked at. I mean, it wouldn't have changed the result of the yellow card, but they wouldn't have been sitting there watching 6 and 7 points go through now.
Well, Eric Gouzar is our TMO tonight as Ramos puts through the first kick of the night, and it's 7 points to nothing to the 22-time top 14 champions, thanks to Antoine Dupont.
Well, he took off 3 or 4 times. This is the last one. He fed everybody else on the last time, but he ran into about 4 tacklers there. How he's managed to thread that ball through, keep his feet, keep his balance, and keep going forward is absolutely incredible.
It's only his 5th try of the top 14 season, and of course he set up a number of others, including a hat-trick of them last week against La Rochelle. Jack Willis takes it, and he's immediately wrapped up by Adam Coleman, and the referee brings things to a halt immediately. There's Ben Tamifuna. How well is that shoulder? We're about to find out, I think.
Yeah, lucky break there for Bordeaux, because the kick wasn't great. It was a bit far infield, which allowed this man, Jack Willis, to get a bit of a run on, rather than letting Bègles put the pressure on. But still a good hit from Bordeaux. Ball gets coughed up, and definitely bonus possession now with 1 man in the bin. Won't be able to do a lot off the back of the scrum, you wouldn't think. Quick feed.
We got Charlie Faumina, who's actually made the trip from Auckland, who's up on the big screens here, watching on, a former legend, of course, from the All Blacks, but also Toulouse.
Yes, he's been a wonderful servant to the game through the years. All Black great, and of course Jerome Kano, another one who's now involved in the backroom staff with the club. And has really settled into France. Here come Bordeaux Begles then. Bastien Van Taifa trying to get forward. Ooh, big hit. Out by Luku. Into the blindside flanker again. Here come the backs. This is what we want to see from Union Bordeaux Begles. First up, Nicolas Deporter, the French under-20 world champion. Referee see no advantage, and there's a little bit of niggles and afters there on the far side. Hardly surprising. This is a really big night for Union Bordeaux Begles, and they've got to survive 7 minutes with only 14 men. They need to waste as much time as they can.
Well, they can take a full minute here, getting the 3 points. A real bonus for them, down to 14, and up the Toulouse end, taking the points, you'd assume.
Maxime Luku comes across. Number 2 to Antoine Dupont internationally. He's unlucky, really, to have started his career at a time when maybe one of the greatest scrum halves we've ever seen has come onto the scene.
Blair Kinghorn making a good tackle there. He's lucky probably it went back for a penalty, because he would have been penalised there for standing up on the wrong side of the ruck. You can, of course, have a go at the ball as the tackler until such time as that ruck gets formed. But they were very, very clean on defence last week, Toulouse. Very, very accurate with their chop tackles, with their gang tackles.
A lot of Toulouse fans behind that goal. Has no effect at all on Luku, though. And Union Bordeaux Begles are on the board in their first final.
They did very well to improvise at the scrum too, by putting Vernier Treifer at number 8. They got a pretty good hook, and the scrum stayed stable despite having a back on there, so Vernier Treifer got off really well, made some headway.
You see the backroom staff there, Jean-Baptiste Bou on the near side, the scrums coach, who was the man who was actually throwing a bit of a shadow about Ben Tamifuna during the week, saying that he was out, it wasn't going to happen. He tried to push, it didn't work, and then all of a sudden, yesterday, the bombshell came out that he was playing.
I guess the good thing is that in the front row you can kind of have rolling subs a little bit under various regulations, and I was convinced he wasn't going to play when he came out and quite theatrically put on his boots way before the game.
Nicely done at the line out from Toulouse as they attack again with Peter Aki. So often a number 1 carrier in first phase play, and it comes to Malia. Malia got 2 assists from Antoine Dupont last weekend to score against La Rochelle.
And he's just had an assist from Bègles, I think, who deflected the ball into touch, so it's still Toulouse possession. They'll get the throw to this line out. Didn't really create themselves much space very efficiently, and that long ball there just let the Bordeaux defence. Oh no, it was Burros. The Bordeaux defence came across. There it is there.
Romain Burros, who was a finalist to the French Espoirs back in 2018 when he was with Pau. Number of this Bordeaux Begles side are looking for their first club titles. And you consider the experience that they have and the talent, it's quite surprising. They have a big chance tonight, and they need to survive this first. Jack Willis, that's not the man you want to see when you have a man down. Dupont again, the pick and go. They're coming forward in waves, close. Intermac out wide. Alexander Roumain, though, absolutely flattened by the wing, though. Bègles, but it's not going to make any difference because they're going to come back.
It's unbelievable the momentum that Antoine Dupont, well, it's not unbelievable because you see how good he is, but the momentum that he gives Toulouse, where he just decides to accelerate the game. He normally comes off that ruck and targets. If he's going wide, he'll target the second defender, so he's skirted the first, brought in the second, and there are gaps around there. This one he does himself, and he takes out 3 tacklers almost, including Lamotte, and still gets the ball free for the continuity.
That's a hooker that he's pushing backwards. Blair Kinghorn, who scored the first try of the semi-final. Wonderful take, actually, from an Antoine Dupont pass that actually almost hit the ground. And Toulouse backroom staff watching on as well. Saw there Jean Bou and Virgil Lecombe in charge of the forwards, and in a very animated conversation with each other as Thomas Ramos steps forward. The lazy swing, but the laser-like finish. Yeah, not the same Ramos, but the jersey will do. And Toulouse here at the moment are building a solid platform, which is just what Union Bordeaux Begles didn't need. It'll be Dupont that takes it this time. Finds Willis. Even when he was about to be wrapped up, he still finds the escape route. Ben Tamifuna told to calm down by Ludovic Kerr. This time they'll kick. Just under 2 minutes of the sin bin to go. Step back inside by Burros. Luku out wide, picked up by Deporter, and he's put a foot in touch.
He did pretty well, Burros, here. I'm surprised that Luku didn't come running off. Look, he's taken in 3 defenders there, and yes, Luku saw Deporter out there lurking, but I think there was a little bit more space if it kept coming infield, which Burros was trying desperately to do. They can't afford to make little mistakes like that. That's a bit of an unforced error. The ball going across the touchline from a position like that when they had possession, Bordeaux, so they've really got to tighten up on those sort of chances.
Tommy Aquino Taufer on the bike alongside the pitch. Tight head prop waiting to come on in the second half. 15 minutes gone. Toulouse 10. Union Bordeaux Begles 3. Union Bordeaux Begles actually doing reasonably okay, actually, considering they're working down this yellow card. If they are only 7 points behind when it ends, they'll be happy, and it could be better than that. Great little charge down and picked up by Bastien Verin-Taillefer. Diaby comes in, plays scrum half. Burros, one of the Galacticos runners for this Union Bordeaux Begles side, but he's brought down early. Toulouse fans thought there might have been a knock-on in that, but the referee has allowed play to continue. Luku feeds it out wide. Forwards take it. Good defence, though, from Toulouse. Folding across well. Out by... Oh, and it's been dropped by Ben Tamifuna. It's a hot, humid night, and he's about 150 kilos. It's not easy.
Well, either he was thinking there that he was the dummy runner, or he was conscious of the defender coming outside in that would have been onto his bad shoulder. Certainly not saying he was flinching, but he was conscious of something else there, I think, Ben Tamifuna. Didn't get a clean catch on it. Here's Dupont getting charged down now. That's twice in a couple of minutes where he's really tried to bite off a little bit too much, and the defence has got wise to him. They almost got this on the counter-attack, counter-ruck. Toulouse, and here's the ball. Like I say, just watching up at that front line, that defensive line coming up at him, Bentami Funa. He had a very, very good touch, first touch, and so if they can get the ball into his hands, maybe with a one-on-one rather than running him into a brick wall of 3 or 4 defenders, would be ideal.
There's Anthony Geelong, injured, and of course the big man himself, Emmanuel Meafou, who became a French international finally in the Six Nations earlier this year, but unfortunately he got injured in the final last season, and he hasn't even made it onto the pitch this time around. Still gets a big cheer though from the crowd.
Real embarrassment of riches at Toulouse, but you've got to say they develop more than their fair share of players through their academy. Yes, they get a big catchment coming from all around the region, but they come there early to learn the Toulouse way. The skills, the spirit of rugby, the excellence that they seek.
Dupont takes it off the back of the scrum. Ntamak to Aki, lovely little reverse round. Ntamak on the move, and this is the sort of thing we see from them regularly, opening up the defences, trying to find the holes. Bordeaux Begles back to a full complement, but here comes Jack Willis. Jack Willis finding the hole. Dupont. Ruma. Finally a French international. He's dropped the ball, but the referee again is going to come back for an infringement by Bordeaux Begles and by Luku, by the sounds of it. No, it's actually by Cyril Cazot, the second row forward.
Toulouse taking advantage of, I think, what must be a man short in that defence, or was on that occasion anyway. Probably had a player still in the scrum right at the end of that yellow card, and made some easy yards. And then the combination of Dupont, who's always looking for Jack Willis, it reminds me a little bit of the Aaron Smith, Shannon Frizzell combination, always close to one another.
Well, Robbie, down there, as you see Jack Willis bursting through, what's your analysis of what you've seen so far?
I think it's all about ball retention, isn't it? You know, it's a hot, humid night here in Marseille, and I think you just need to keep hold of the ball. Union Bordeaux Begles, if they get themselves deep into territory, they need to keep hold of it. They need to have support players coming in to get with the player who's carrying forward. I'll get you back to you guys.
In comes the line out, and a good counter push here by Bordeaux Begles, but Toulouse go left and start the momentum slowly. In the youth game, we're getting a difference in the rules. Oh, and Dupont nearly drops it. Pulls it back in at the last moment. Richie Arnold, one of the men who's been here all through this great period, this latest great period of Toulouse domination. 3 Brenners, 2 Champions Cups. Looking for a second double in 3 years. Jack Willis, a newer member, but has come very important very quickly, and they push over the 5-metre line. Dupont looking around for options. Here's Netty in for Cyril Bay tonight, who has had surgery this week on an injury that he picked up last weekend in the semi-final. Out it goes. Mavaka is over. The second try for Toulouse. Irresistible. Piata Mavaka, in a season when he has finally become the #1 for club and country, relegating Julien Marchand to being his backup, comes across the line for a fantastic score and his 5th try of this campaign in top 14.
Absolutely relentless from Toulouse. The maul was well defended by Bordeaux, but from then on they just tweaked one another around. Puppeteering almost was Antoine Dupont as he just launched phase after phase, and look at the efforts from Malia on the outside, helping Piato Mavaka to not be pushed over the touchline. That's work rate off the ball. That's invaluable. A great try from Mavaka, who's had an incredible season since he came on 3 or 4 minutes into that first World Cup match, and he's just gone from strength to strength.
Well, there was a kind of impromptu maul that turned into in the end, and they got the overlap. All of a sudden they had one man isolated on the outside, and Union Bordeaux Begles, ironically now back to 15 men, have now conceded the second try, and this is a tough one for Thomas Ramos to try and compound the damage, and he's missed it. Nevertheless, Toulouse here taking control.
Yeah, this was just the final stage, of course, but phase after phase before then. And Bordeaux really being put to the test on defence.
15-3. It's already a 12-point gap. And the favourites at the moment playing like favourites. And they get a decision there as well. Richie Arnold coming away from that. Ben Tamifuna is the man who gets up disappointed. And so too are all the substitutes there on the Union Bordeaux bench. Yannick Brou just looking a little bit animated. A student of the Toulouse way, and has brought that with him to Union Bordeaux Begles. Former Bayonne coach, now weaving his magic with Union Bordeaux Begles. But they need to find a spell or two now in this game. At the moment, the champions are dictating play. Another good platform, Thibaut Flamand taking that beautifully. Out by Netty, on the overlap is Bavaka. Here they come again, like the waves of the Mediterranean. Antoine Dupont flies over for 3 tries for Toulouse already in the game. It is falling apart for Bordeaux Begles. Antoine Dupont is on a mission. He hasn't always played this season. He's been away with the Sevens. He's been away at the World Cup. He didn't play the Six Nations. But every time he's come back into this Toulouse side, he has brought that extra spark.
I'm absolutely speechless. Well, I'm not. I'm going to talk through it, of course. Beautiful finish for Dupont, and he actually played a bit part role at the end there. They had support runners of every option there. Every time they knew if a player got tackled at the worst, there would be someone running off, and they knew exactly where to look. The timing was superb. That's the beauty of Dupont being such a threat previously, was that when he ran wide, focus went onto him. Marvaka switches it back onto the inside. Couple of runners there, and eventually Dupont pops back up again, but not where he's expected to. The chip and chase, I mean, you just can't, you can't predict that, but when you've got a player of that sort of talent, you've got to have a fairly high hit rate.
He scored 4 tries before tonight. He's got 2 already in this single game.
10 seconds.
He is looking at his sharpest best. Ramos, easier kick this time, through the middle. And Union Bordeaux Begles here needs to find something to put the Toulouse break on, because at the moment they're being run ragged.
Again, that's just the end of it, but what a beautiful move and beautiful timing from the support runners.
So Jack Willis will take it again, and again he manages to avoid the first tackle. It was Bielbieri who tried to get him down, and he's got up very gingerly indeed after that. You can see him there on the left of your screen. Nieti. The backup to Cyril Biber, giving a starring role tonight at loose head prop. Dupont off the back of the Caterpillar Maul. Looks for distance, he'll find Burros. And Burros will try to find a little bit of magic. Tamifuna leads with that right shoulder. And doesn't get much change out of that little charge forward. Up by Jalibert, the other surprise inclusion this evening. Lucu. Jefferson Poirot, the former French international. It's been a while since he was in the French national side, back at the 2019 World Cup and 2020 Six Nations. And again, an extra roll at the end. And Maxime Lemont just a little bit desperate to get that extra piece of advantage, and all he's managed to do is give the ball back to the champions.
A little bit predictable at the moment, the Bordeaux attack, just sort of one-up runners. Lucu is not sniping from the base like we've seen Dupont do, just to break up the defence, give the defence another threat to consider. So he's just throwing it from the base, a one-up runner smashing it up, and that is not challenging the Toulouse defence one bit.
Vincent Clair there down on the bottom right-hand screen, right-hand side of your screen there, watching on, one of the most graceful backs you'll ever likely to see in a Toulouse or France shirt. One of those former Hall of Famers for this wonderful side.
I thought you were about to say Angus who's going to come onto the pitch.
Well, he'd be welcome to. Oh my goodness me, they don't need him, do they? Look at this. Off off they go again. Up to the 5-metre line without any effort at all. Union Bordeaux Begles has been rocked onto their heels every time Toulouse come forward. And another scoring opportunity. Jefferson Poirot manages to get something in on Antoine Dupont. The Bordeaux Begles fans scream for a knock-on. Well, we're seeing Yannick Brou, Robbie, down there. What's his attitude been like through this first part of the game?
What, 22-3 down? I mean, it's pretty predictable, isn't it? He is not a happy man, and we can just see that they've got a man down injured. He's not looking in a good place. Can't really see who it is. But yeah, no, it's,
looks like Big Ben.
It looks like Ben Tomafuna, right?
Yeah.
Listen, there's animation there, and of course they're talking about what they can try and do. You can't see them making substitutions this early in the game. I mean, you know, you want to have some kind of, you know, organisation and fluidity. It's not the case. They're not getting ball. The first time we heard the name Jalibert, you know, literally since the start of the game was a moment ago. Those guys not getting possession, so they don't get ball retention, so they can't play. It's all about Toulouse. They're just swamping them. So Yannick Brou is basically saying we need ball, and we need to play our territory again.
Well, it looks like everybody's back on their feet again, which is good news for Union Bordeaux Begles. Time is off at the moment. Everybody taking a breather after a frantic first 26.5 minutes.
See, they've got an inordinate amount of territory there from that line-out maul, Toulouse. I wanted to have another look at that and see if they actually moved that off the line, because it seemed to me they formed a maul without having contacted a Bordeaux player when they just shifted it to the inside of that line out.
Well, it's going to be a scrum this time around as Deporter looks on, hoping that he'll have a chance to come forward again. At the moment, though, it's all about defence for the side from the lower reaches of the Garonne River, up against the side from the much higher climbs of the said river as it comes off the Pyrenees. A sort of Garonne derby, if you like, in the final. A very southwest affair, and at the moment it's Toulouse who are very much on top. Bordeaux Begles needs some solidity, some ball, as Robbie has just told you. They've got some here, but it's deep inside their own half. Luku. Long kick. Well, it gets them some territory, but it will hand the possession back to Toulouse again.
Doesn't bear thinking about the pressure going through Ben Tamifuna's right shoulder there. That was a horrific looking injury a couple of weeks back. Here's Tatafu coming off the back, and he's well covered by Willis. Gets a good fend on, but still Willis holds on, gets some support pretty quickly. There's that man again, Dupont, straight in there, and they get him to ground quickly.
He was an under-20 world champion in the past as well. And of course, Bordeaux Begles had his brother in their ranks season or so again, Tom Willis, who before he headed back to England. Nicely done again. Entamac is ripped to the floor though by Burros. Dupont. That's a little bit long. Well, a mistake from Antoine Dupont. Who'd have thought it? Kicks it off the back, and he'll come back for the scrum to where he kicked it from. That is a collector's item if ever there was one.
It'll be an NFT soon, won't it? It's yeah, it just shows, I guess, that well, A, he's human, but B, that he's really trying hard in this game. And you know, a couple of little mistakes he's made, but I think his net result so far has been overwhelmingly positive when you look at 2 tries, but not just that, the manner in which he scored them, the manner in which he's got Toulouse going forward and just started picking off that Bordeaux fringe defence.
Well, you saw there was a 5-3 on the bench with Paul Grau, Ange Capuzzo and Paul Costes all watching together from the Toulouse dugout.
That was the first time they actually played rush defence, and they came up quickly to get into Ntamac's face to bring him down, hence putting pressure on Dupont to kick the ball.
So another set piece that ends very quickly. It's one of the big areas that Union Bordeaux Begles have got to get right tonight.
Yeah, you're right, Robbie. They got a good line there, and no surprise that that they know one another very well. There's all these internationals, but getting a line on Ntamec and where he was going. The thing with Toulouse is they'll learn from that, and they'll run the same structure again, maybe with 2 or 3 different options off it, bailout options, different adjustments. They might hit the front runner, Chocobares, the next time. They might give it to Intermac, who flicks back onto the blind side winger, that sort of thing. So they learn very, very quickly, Toulouse, and you just cannot rest against them.
Well, again, they don't get very far. Well, it's a measure of how much they rely on Ben Tamifuna that they've been prepared to take this risk with him this evening. Difficult to see exactly at the moment how he's standing up. If he is hurting, he's not showing it.
Well, I guess for him, he hyperextended the shoulder, so long as that's strapped up and protected from going too far above kind of 180 degrees as he puts his arm straight out to the side, then you know he's at least protected from that particular injury. And then after that, it's just a pain management thing, which I know nothing about, but obviously some of these tough guys do.
A lot of rugby players will tell you that they're never completely free of pain during a season, particularly if they're a forward. Luku changes his mind and comes back the other way. Here they come. They've decided to let rip with the backs. Bielbiri brilliantly stays in touch and then is rounded into touch immediately afterwards. Thomas Ramos and Roman Entamac, 2 of the flair players for Toulouse, doing the dirty work in defence. And then Ramos decides to go early. That's risky. And saved somewhat by the referee, making them come back.
Poor old Nicolas Deportier and poor old Louis Bielbiri as well, because the basic concept for a winger is stay as wide as you can. Don't cut back until the very last moment. Now, Deportier hardly got any ball last week. Smart defence from Toulouse, because they left no option for Bielbiri to finally cut back in and bring the ball back on the inside. So they just shepherded them out. Malia waited for Chocobares. Now they're going to have a look at this tackle, but Maria waited for Chocobares to come across, so it was perfect timing from the Toulouse defence.
Yeah, Eric Gauzan's going to come back in again. Now, to me, he was going down, but it was head contact.
I guess I was right in front of it, and you know, he was flung down, and there was contact with the head, and that's the reason why we're going up to the TMO. And Louis Bielbiri didn't react, so he just walked back, but the fact was that he was flung down, but we'll see from the replay that there was contact with the head.
Well, it looked to me as though there was mitigation here, but we'll see what the TMO feels. He's waiting for it to arrive, isn't he? He knows it's coming. This is dangerous for Toulouse.
I think it is too, because I think Malia doesn't really lead with his shoulder for the tackle. He's gone in quite upright with his head still high. Bielbiri hasn't actually changed his height too much at all, you see. And that rules out that as a mitigating factor.
Well, Juan Cruz Malia scored twice last week in the semi-finals. He was certainly one of the headline acts. He will not want to be the headline act here, though. He's trying to look unflustered.
I think this will go yellow. I don't think they'll risk. I think there's enough doubt for them here that this is genuinely a decision that should influence the match. Saying that might even it up.
Juan Cruz Malia, one of the generation of Argentines that enjoyed a first ever victory, sorry Andrew, over New Zealand.
Well, they earned it.
L'image que j'avais vue là, ils vont la checker par prudence, mais c'est un contact buste et les têtes se touchent jamais, donc on part sur touche.
No, nothing given at all. The heads don't touch, according to the referee. Yannick Brew is calling the eyesight specialist.
Hugo Mola's suppressing a grin.
Yes. So on we go. So we keep 15 aside on the pitch, which is never a bad thing, I think. Here comes Dupont then. Toulouse escaping a bullet there. 8 minutes to go until the break. Toulouse in charge, 22 points to 3. Louis Bielbiri looking to dodge around and is taken down by the big hands of Francois Cruz. Tamifuna tries to rumble his way past Thibaut Flamand. Jalibert, missed pass. Little bit of ground made. Jalibert again with the kick, trying to get it behind Ramos. Ramos quick, as you like, and calls the mark. And we saw this in Bordeaux Begles game last week as well in the semi-final. Too many imprecise kicks that were not really a threat.
Well, I think they'd pre-planned that, or planned that, I suppose is the right word. Pre-planned is probably a tautology. But I think Jalibert was standing so deep, he didn't look like he was up flat to take advantage of 2 phases where they'd gone forward. Tame Funa got them going forward. They've taken a quick line out. Sorry, Angus.
That's all right. Burros has it. Another chance to attack here. They need to get something before half-time. 3 points isn't really enough. Luku. There's another clash in there that has got the crowd murmuring. Burros again. They're trying to bring the backs in. It's not easy, though, when you've got a defence like Toulouse is to try and perforate. Tamifuna, he decides to fend it off this time into Tavita Tatafu. Luku, Poirot goes up against Movaka. Luku again, Jalibert, another missed pass. Lamont turns and feels Damien Penaud almost for the first time in the game with the ball in his hands in attack. Oh, lovely play there by Diaby. Not bad for an open side flanker. Bastien Van Taper. Oh, they've lost the ball. Great play again by Toulouse. It's what they've done against everybody all through the season. They're so quick into the tackle. Jacklers arrive, get the ball back. Penaud has it now. Burros runs into Ramos and Kinghorn. Movaka has it. I think he came round the side though. Ruck formed is what the referee's saying.
Well, Francois Ramos has had a bit of a go at the referee, and I think he's probably just a little bit embarrassed about how he got cleaned out of that ruck by Penaud. Penaud gave the pass across, and Bordeaux tried to run themselves out of trouble, but after the tackle, gee, he took a big run up at that clean out, Damien Penaud.
We can clearly hear the referee there saying there was no bad sportsmanship, no foul play.
That was a great clean.
Mathis Lebel, he can do nothing else now. All of his work in the season has been done.
Here's the steal from Jack Willis. Now, what Toulouse have been doing is they've actually been standing back off the after the tackle, so they haven't been committing too many numbers to the rucks. So they've been doing that for 4 or 5 phases. Suddenly they pick the one moment, and the one player who's there, the one who can steal, Jack Willis, takes that opportunity and steals.
Well, he was one of the most devastating men in the Champions Cup in that regard this season. Some thought he might have even got the Man of the Match award in the final against Leinster. Superb in that. Master of the dark arts, and Toulouse with another penalty. And they're stacking up against Bordeaux Begles, and they are not going to be able to get the platform they need if they keep on coughing up possession like that. No,
and this is what happens when you end up just shoveling the ball across. The defence gets a good line on you, and it was Romain Intimac who came flying through there and made the tackle on. I think it was Deportier, no, it was Burros, wasn't it? Came flying through. He's got the luxury of being able to do that, because if your defence feels comfortable, you can send a flyer out. Here it is here, made the great tackle, got him behind, well behind the tackle line. Toulouse, the counter ruck immediately. And Bordeaux going down to protect that ball.
Ruthless. What a view from the Mediterranean night sky in this temple of football that at the moment is enjoying rugby's biggest game in France. Toulouse at the moment giving a masterclass, as they've so often done. Another few meters made off every point of contact. On the 22, another attacking platform set. Dupont feeds it out to Ntamak. Ramos all the way across. Maria. This is where he scored at the end of the last game last weekend in this corner. However, this time holding on, and finally Bordeaux Begles get a decision their way.
Ouais, exactement.
It was good defence from Bègles. He really puts his body on the line. There's not a huge amount to him compared to some of the other bulky backs you see. More problems for Bordeaux, though. Jalibert has already had the leg issues and somehow miraculously made this match. Now getting treatment on the shoulder.
Well, it's ironic, isn't it? With it's Tameifunu who had the shoulder injury coming into this, and he had the leg problem, and now he's having a problem with his shoulder.
Here's the same move again, where Malvaka previously threw it inside to Malia. This time he's hit Chocobares, so they've varied it. Didn't get quite as much traction, of course, as the try the first time. The good thing about Toulouse is they only switch play if they sense there's an opportunity. It's reactive. Other teams, you see them plan to go 2 phases and then switch back, and it becomes very predictable. Toulouse react to the opportunity.
And they have the line out. That ball has been dropped out of the back. That was a bit scruffy. However, of course, it's tidied up by Antoine Dupont. 3 tries already for Toulouse in the regular season. Of course, that would mean an attacking bonus point, but of course we're well past that stage at the moment. Cyril Cazot just told to get back on his own side by the Toulouse player with his shoulder. Slow ball this time for once. Bordeaux Begles have had 63% possession in the last 10 minutes, but overall Toulouse dominating that area. Bègles manages to get there ahead of Malia and claims the ball for the men in white. That ball though is almost out. Referee's on the wrong side to be able to see it. Bastien Van Talifer is going to play scrum half to Lamotte, who I suppose technically is playing fly half. Again, it's slow ball. They look tired already, do Bordeaux Begles. Let's not forget they've had a day less to prepare for this game by virtue of finishing lower down in the regular season. Oh, big hit on Ntamak. Crowd reacted to that. Ruma. Chocobares has a little look around. Finds Ramos. Blair Kinghorn goes for the kick. The Scottish international is chasing after it. However, the sideline has beaten him. What a season he's had, Andrew. Came across a rescue, if you like, from Toulouse and has become one of their star performers.
Yes, he's been earmarked for a long time as the Scottish number 10. Of course, with Finn Russell going so well, he's had to take a bit of a back seat. Come across here and he's played a lot more at fullback. Now for the last couple of weeks, he's been put on the wing. Probably not the most familiar position for him, but such is the Toulouse game that he can have a roving commission and get involved in the play a lot. We haven't seen the ball go his way so much tonight, but always a threat when he gets the ball.
Well, a really important line out to get right here for Maxime Lamotte. They cannot afford to allow them to score again, but that might just be what happens. Toulouse over. Malvaka trying to get the ball down. Has he been held up? He smiles. He thinks he's grounded it. And the try has been given. And just as we were saying, the last thing that Bordeaux Begles need now is to concede a try at half-time. That's exactly what has happened. 2 tries for Dupont, and now 2 tries for Malvaka.
Yes, and this was always the plan. Toulouse always going to compete, and all they needed to do was enough just to disrupt. Malvaka was always going to be coming off the back of that line out in case of an overthrow or something like that. I thought Bordeaux had done really well to maybe get their legs under it, but the referee seemed to see something at the end.
Yeah, they are going to check this to make sure there is a grounding, I think. Well, the referee was right there, wasn't he?
He was the one who called it after about probably 5 or 6 seconds, which is a long, it's an absolute eternity in that situation. Oh, maybe they were checking if there was a knock-on from Toulouse.
Yeah, Ruma was the man who went up. Let's look at Ruma's hand. No. Diaby. So if that's the reason why they're checking it, then it's all down to the grounding.
There was also contact from Ruma with the hand on Diaby, in fact, that they're talking about now as well.
Yeah, I think that was inconsequential as well, to be honest. Diaby had touched it already. I thought it looked like Ruma just trying to win the ball, flicked his arm. It hit on Diaby because they were both jumping across one another's lines.
Well, let's not forget that the try was given, so they've got to find definitive proof that it didn't get touched down. Well, the first really controversial moment then of the game. I can't see anything on that.
They're not going to be able to disallow the try based on not grounding because they've given it, and I don't think there's going to be. I say that. It's close under there. It's got to be. They can't say that that's not touching.
If it had not been given as a try, then we would be carrying on with play immediately. There's a big smile from Mavaka, and it doesn't look like it's gamesmanship. He looks like he thinks he's touched that on the floor.
There used to be the call from the referees, too many hands on the ball. It doesn't really apply here. It doesn't matter if there are other hands on the ball if the obvious guy controlling it was Mavaka.
Well, the army of Union Bordeaux Begles fans holding their breath.
They're turning it over based on the fact they thought there was definitive proof he did not push it down.
Wow. Well, you can hear the chorus of boos from the Toulouse fans, but a huge sigh of relief, collective relief from Union Bordeaux Begles. 4 tries in the first half, 2 for Dupont, 2 for Mavaka. It's 22-3. Toulouse lead. Bordeaux Begles.
This man here decided to speed the game up, and at other times when Francois Ramos gets involved as well with his kicking game, they just seem to suddenly find themselves down the Bordeaux end, and Bordeaux must have been thinking, how the heck do we get down here? So that's what they need to rule out of their game, get the ball and hold on to it as well, and put a bit more pressure on Toulouse. And I think that only comes by threatening them around the fringes and going a bit more same way.
So then, ready to go. 40 minutes for Union Bordeaux Begles to find the recipe to get themselves really into this first ever final they've had as a union.
Angus, I just got one stat for you. 49 passes he's made, Dupont, 37 Lucu, just so you know, for those 2 teams.
I'm amazed that Lucu is so close to him. It's amazing because Dupont really showed just why he's the best scrum half in the world. Amazing. Well, the next touch he gets will be 50 then, I guess. Crumbs, what a player he is. Well, it's Lucu who's going to get the first, though, here. He needs to have the kind of influence on this game that he had last week, when he was getting all the plaudits for driving Union Bordeaux Begles forward against what was the most miserly defence in the regular season, Stade Toulousain, led by Paul Gustard. Barros finally gets a bit of space, and now he stretches away again, still going, as his shorts nearly rocked off by Mavaka. Oh, and it's knocked forward by Diaby. That's not the start they needed. Referee will surely... No, avantage he calls. Toulouse did have the ball, and Barros has it. They'll probably end that then. It's only a knock-on advantage. Barros decides to kick again. Straight down the throat of Thomas Ramos. Well, this is more like the game we saw last week now. A little bit of a kicking extravaganza. We haven't seen very much of that from Bordeaux Begles so far in the game, looking for the 50-22, but Ramos was across quickly to cut it off, and then he kicks it out, and we're back into the Union Bordeaux Begles half.
Yes, he covered a huge amount of ground there, Thomas Ramos. Wasn't a bad kick from Jalibert. He's a little bit unlucky with how that ball bounced at the end. This is when Barros started getting his run going. Just a little bit unlucky that he lost his feet a bit there and gave Mavaka the chance to pull him down.
Yannick Brou kind of holding his breath at the moment, hoping that they will do something differently. However, it's Toulouse who have it. Entomac feeds it out into the path of Chocobares, who scored a try himself last week as well. Willis, quick hands. Flamand. Willis again linking up well with Dupont. And again, he gets that extra metre, and he gets a penalty as well. Oh, and that's not good. Ben Tamifuna holding on to that shoulder. Well, he's made it through one half. Doesn't look like he's going to make it through a second. And we could see Tomoakino Tofa
I'm no medical expert, but I don't think the jabs that go in for painkillers last the whole match. So there's probably a point where that does wear off for poor old Big Ben. And then all of a sudden, you get all the accumulated pain from the scrums and the hits, the tackles, which must suddenly come at you when the painkiller wears off. Robbie, interestingly said 49 passes for Dupont and only 37 for Luku.
Yeah.
But 40, it'd be interesting to see the average distance, because so many of Dupont's passes are just little pop passes, and they come when he's sniping around the fringes, whereas Luku gets in more like a classic old school halfback and is throwing the long passes out. But Dupont is sniping around the fringes, popping the ball off left and right, just the little flick passes, and I suspect a huge proportion of his 49 would be those little passes rather than the longer spiral ones.
Well, Hugo Boniface looks like he's likely to come on in a couple of moments as Thomas Ramos takes this penalty kick again, straight down the middle. And the first points of the second half are significant because they've gone to Toulouse. Two substitutions down there, Robbie coming on.
Yeah, Bruce Chaton, Hugo Boniface coming on. So you've got a loose head coming on. And of course, when we look in the front row, you've got Benton Mafuna, who's tight head.
Yeah, Pierre Boucheton looks like he's going to come on as well. The back row, the man who scored a try last weekend against Stade Toulousain. Taken by Movaka. Safely recycled back. Dupont, slow ball kick coming. And it goes out. Burros catches it well. Thought about taking the quick one, and again, but in the end, the runs were too good. And it means they'll have to take the traditional line out instead.
And just look how efficient they've been, Toulouse. Get down the end, get 3 points, start their second half account, and then clear their line again really effectively. Precision.
Oh, Pierre Mignoni is watching on in the crowd, wishing he was here probably. But Toulon, unfortunately for him, long term since being spectators this season, even though they are a team that seems to be moving kind of in the right direction. It's a great side of the last decade. Oh, here comes the big number 8, Tavita Tatafu. One of the most significant burst receiver, Luku, quick ball. Mafana, has he found the spot where he can go through? Not quite, they close the door on him. Better, Diaby. Allowed to take that extra turn because he wasn't being held. Luku, no way round that way, so back he comes the other way and he runs straight into Francois Course. Oh, Penaud out and it's dropped again. Adam Coleman, the second row forward, unable to hold on to it. As Ben Tamifuna gets some more attention. Well, they cannot afford to keep on coughing up the ball like this, particularly in those positions when they're beginning to threaten.
Some promising play here. Tatafu, I think, took the right option there to bring it back infield because he kept the momentum going. Here, that was, I think, Malia who ran up. Malia and Peter Aki perhaps who flew up to stop that Bordeaux backline from getting the ball out wide, and they did that pretty effectively, and this was the next phase. A couple of times there Bordeaux looked likely, but then all of a sudden they just have one phase where they're not quite sure what they're doing. When Luku ran around the fringes and didn't know where he was going and got caught, so it's easy to say you've got to keep that momentum going to capitalise when you do make the good runs.
Yeah, Jean-Baptiste Pou looking very unimpressed at the moment. Change at loose head prop for Bordeaux. Diaby has also come off as well. A little change of tack here by Bordeaux to try and get into a game that they are 22 points behind in. Ben Tamifuna there, number 3, still in the game, even though he's having regular attention on that shoulder that almost stopped him playing in the first place. It's a big kick.
That's an unbelievable kick. When Dupont's scrum had turned round the wrong way, put him right in the firing line, going to the right, and kicking that ball of the Bordeaux Lucies, and he still managed to thread this ball away somehow, get some height and some distance under immense pressure.
Yeah, Pierre Boucheton, the man who came on for Diaby. Nice technique from the crowd.
Tu l'as là, Pierre. Il arrive. Attends, bloc.
So Guillaume Girardeau, former France captain, of course, former Perpignan.
Attendez, j'ai
Number
votre
2,
qui sort.
Montpellier, legend.
And Benjamin Funa is not going to be able to carry on any longer. He lasted 47 minutes until the shoulder finally gave way. And you can see how upset he is. Appreciation largely as well for the season that he's put in as well. The big Tongan international will play no more part in this game. In by Lamotte. Again, the defence is good from Toulouse. So they have to give up on the maul and they go out wide instead. Burros. Penaud. Chased after well. It's not working at the moment for Union Bordeaux Begles. We're talking about plan Bs, but mainly for Benjamin Funa or Mathieu Jalibert before the game. They need a plan D now in the game. At the moment, it's a rather one-sided final. Something that Toulouse have done to many sides over the years. And with every little victory they get, the confidence grows and grows and grows, and it becomes harder and harder for Union Bordeaux Begles to get a foothold.
Penalty against Hugo Boniface. A bit unlucky for, well, not unlucky to get the penalty, but he'd overrun the ball. He wanted to get there and support, knew he was out of play, and took out one of the Toulouse players just to keep the threat away from the ball, from the turnover. Frustrating times for Bordeaux, though. They just can't seem to get anything going. You know, they're trying everything they do in the back line, they're trying to do based around Jalibert coming outside 12 and 13, outside Moefana. I think they'd be better served to try and use Penaud and Bielbiere coming off their blindside wing and hitting inside or outside Moefana as well, rather than going laterally through Jalibert, because I don't think he's at 100%. He's clearly not running at full gallop. And the Toulouse backline is just getting an easy read on where they're going.
Well, it's a relatively easy 3 points that Thomas Ramos is going to be able to send towards goal to stretch the lead even further. Ooh. Well, not like that, though, he won't. That was a rather uncharacteristic shank.
Yeah, I don't think he chose the right height tee. I'm just kidding, guys, of course.
Flamand.
C'est bon.
More pressure. Dupont. Netty. Dupont again. Every time Toulouse come forward, you fear for this Union Bordeaux Begles defensive line. Aki. Ntamak, another training ground move again. Round the back, Blair Kinghorn. Weaving, trying to get free, but that time the defence folded across well. Ntamak. Aki's going to go for the kick this time. Again, that's not a very good one. Back it comes from Burros. That's better. Oof. That was close to being a 50-22. Didn't quite make it across the 22 as Uberti comes on.
It's a good call with Uberti. He's got good energy, always goes looking for work. Similar style of player to Deportier, apart from the obvious similarities physically. Looks like he's replacing Bielbiere, who's trudging across. You said before in the first half, Angus, that he looked a little bit ginger after chasing that kick-off through and making a tackle a little bit off-centre on Jack Willis.
Well, Toulouse done a great job of chasing down those three dangerous men, and they barely got a look in, really. Burros has had one breakthrough, but apart from that, the Toulouse defence has been rock solid. Richie Arnold takes the line out. And Toulouse build again. Movaka has it at the back. More on the way. Antoine Dupont, though, will go for the kick instead. And Huberti will get his first touch, or will he? It goes back the other way. Well, whatever Antoine Dupont does, things always seem to happen. A magical, and that ball has gone out, and it's a line out. Goodness me.
Oh. And it's a 50-22, isn't it?
Well, it would have been if he hadn't got there in time, but he's touched it there and then he stepped on the line. Same thing, Robbie, absolutely. What an incredible kick from Antoine Dupont. Just when you think you've said as many superlatives as you possibly can, you're searching for another one.
Even the luck goes with him. Hugo Moller, as he always generally is, looking very unflustered and just looking like everything is going exactly the way he planned it through the week. Well, he did say in his press conference, when all of the shenanigans about whether or not Ben Tamifuna or Mathieu Jalibert would play, he said, oh, we're not interested in that. We've got our plan. We know what we're doing. Who's to say he doesn't?
Payato Movaka has walked a fine line on the line-out throws. The last 2 or 3 have been getting further and further skewed, I thought, towards the Toulouse line, and he's been finally called on it. Doesn't help Bordeaux too much, though. Really, they're only trying to exit their territory.
First scrum then without Ben Tamifuna, with Tomakino Taufa having come on. Came onto the bench in place of Lexo Kauleshvili today for the final, the big Georgian.
We're going to have a complete change in the front row from Toulouse in a couple of moments' time.
I don't think that's going to do Bordeaux Begles any good, though. They are so deep in their quality in the squad, are Toulouse. They can, as they've shown through this season, wonderful win by the second team against Montpellier, where they absolutely destroyed a Montpellier side that only just survived relegation in the relegation playoff against Grenoble a couple of weeks ago. Dupont. Little chip up in the air, looking for Ntamack instead. He's found another of his teammates. Ntamack has it now. It was Flamand who raced through to pluck that ball out of the air. Dupont going for the corner. And in the end, it goes behind. Well, Bordeaux Begles must wonder what is coming next from this man.
Aren't we all? He's just genuinely the puppet master, isn't he? And the kick there was for Ntamack, who got taken out. Here's the little pop over the top. And it went high enough to allow Flamand to get up there and get it. He feeds off, so everything goes their own way. But like they say in sport and in rugby, you make your own luck. And Toulouse just have numbers there. They've got such an attacking mindset that there are always numbers there ready for any opportunity. So no matter what happens, someone is half anticipating that it might.
Peter Aki so close. Hugo Moller still thinks he can see something needs changing as Julien Marchand comes on to replace Payato Movaka, who comes off, and you could hear the roar. Could have had 2 tries. In the end, it's only 1.
For all of our American viewers, of course, we've got David Denou, and so they're going to be celebrating his arrival for the next 27 minutes of this final.
Maxime Lucu has the latest put in. Better, Penaud. Feeds it into Bocheton. Lucu out. Jalibert. Kick forward by Deporter. Brilliantly done by Malia. Oh, Malia, wonderful from the Argentine. Ramos. Kinghorn. Runs into Lucu. Jack Willis wants to take this, but in the end he leaves it. Ooh, and because he and Antoine Dupont were going for the same ball, it looks like there was a little knock-on, but by Bordeaux Begles. Here they come again. Well, they're going for the kill, aren't they? I mean, it's absolutely relentless.
How quick is he off the mark? He just disappears, Dupont. The cameras can't follow him, we can't follow him. The crowd didn't even know till he was 15 metres galloping upfield.
John Merkle and David Ainu. The two props coming on, as Robbie said a few moments ago. Aino, the American, Merkler, the Spaniard.
We've got more changes. Kane Douglas is coming on, Paul Aberdeen, so you've got 9, of course. Maxime Lecoux might move to 10, and Jalibert's coming off.
Yeah, Kane Douglas, who started the first two semi-finals back in 2021 when they lost, and in 2022 he was a sub last year in the semis, which they also didn't get through, and he's a sub again here in the final. A first for him and for Union Bordeaux Begles.
And there's Paul Aberdeen into halfback, which has pushed Lecoux out to 10 for this man, Jalibert. He's done his best. He certainly wasn't at 100%. Done his best to lift his team. There wasn't a lot more he could have done, to be fair. Such as the efficiency of the Toulouse defence. They didn't really give him any opportunities to get good front foot ball. And I think generally the Bordeaux game plan has not helped Jalibert bring his best skills tonight either.
Doesn't feel like an awful lot has changed in the second half so far with regards to momentum, and here comes Toulouse again. However, they've been penalised. Lecoux wants to take it quickly, but he's not going to be allowed to.
Elle est là-bas, elle est là-bas. J'ai pas entendu.
Took it from the wrong place.
Ok. Elle est ici. Ouais, droitier noir. Ouais, droitier.
It's Merkler, who's only just come on, who's been penalised there. Angling in. Got to remain parallel with your opponent. Well, that's not a good kick. Oh, Bordeaux Begles not doing themselves any favours, and they'll be run back by Juan Cruz Malia. Better. Got it back again. Now they need to do something. Mofana feeds it out. Burros tries to find that little edge of the inside defender, coming inside the outside defender, but again the defence is good. So far they're running it from side to side, but they're not going forward. Penaud, haven't really seen him unleash so far. Lecoux, Lamotte breaks one tackle, but it does enough to bring him down. The tackle by Alexander Ruma. Suddenly becoming a bit bitty, the game.
That's because Bordeaux's had a little bit more ball, and every time they have it, it just reinforces how inefficient they've been. Choice of scrum or penalty, and Lecoux's taken the scrum, slightly favourable attacking position, but they just keep pushing that pass from Mofana behind Deportier. They've hardly used Deportier, they've hardly given him ball early with space. He's a big lanky runner, long legs, he's got a good outside break. The one time he has really had a good go, Toulouse was fantastic on defence and just shepherded the ball across and took Bègles into touch, but they haven't tried it again with Deportier, and they just keep running laterally. You said it, even when Penaud got the ball, and he finally got the chance to step and straighten up and instantly looks more dangerous. But when they're pushing them wide, pushing that pass wide and trying to distribute, Toulouse is at least the measure of that Bordeaux attack.
We saw a wonderful shot of the Stade Velodrome. Of course, the big difference between this place and the Stade de France is the lack of an athletics track around the outside, so the stands are so much closer to the action. We saw that last week as well at the home of Girondins de Bordeaux in the semi-finals. Two great matches. And of course, Union Bordeaux Begles were taken right to the end of that, and they, I think, have struggled. There was so much celebration at the end of that game that maybe they found it hard, even though they wanted to come into this match, which was historic, but they found it difficult to really get themselves back up again.
Yes, it was a big achievement for them. There was a lot of euphoria, and then it becomes uncharted territory. Sometimes that can work in your favour, I'm sure, without the nerves maybe, but in other times, perhaps tonight, but perhaps regardless of whether it's Bordeaux have responded well or not, you just got to take your hats off to how efficient Toulouse have been on attack and on defence. Hard to know what happened in that scrum, but one thing's for sure is Toulouse didn't like being penalised at the last one.
The Union Bordeaux Begles supporters trying to get behind their team, but a Mexican wave has broken out around the stadium. It's not bad, it's taken nearly an hour for that to happen, as Minardier comes on for Lamotte, as Hooker for Union Bordeaux Begles. 35 years old now, Clément Menadier. Comes in for last weekend's finisher, hooker Romain Laterade, who's not in the 22 this week. Entamac, Ramos. It's an exhibition at the moment of supremacy from the 22-time champions, about to extend their record to 23 unless Union Bordeaux Begles can find a dramatic way to change the momentum of this game. Marchand. Oh, it's lovely by Thomas Ramos, little offload there to allow that extra few meters to be made. Ramos. Oof, that looked a little high on the Toulouse fullback. No doubt the TMO will be having a look at that. Meanwhile, Toulouse carry on. Well, they've lost it. A rare amount. Oh, again. Deporter this time drops it. How on earth are Bordeaux Begles going to come back into this game if people who have not been making mistakes like that all season are making it on the big stage, and doesn't Yannick Brou know it?
Yeah, it just plays on the mind, doesn't it, when you're chasing the game and you get that opportunity suddenly and there's some space and you haven't had much space all night, just wanting to optimise your chances, and you know, the eyes can just go up so easily, light up with the prospect of some space. I've talked a lot about, obviously, Dupont, like we all have and will, and how he snipes around the fringes, how he uses runners so intelligently, but that relies on work rate from his teammates. It relies on his forwards getting themselves in position, always being ready, no matter what, to put an option outside Dupont, inside Dupont, a delayed option to get an offload, and that was Flamand on that occasion.
Joshua Brennan has come on.
And big Olivier Roumar just behind him to the left, disappearing from the screen. Alexandre's father, former French international lock.
And Richie Arnold is the man who has come off. There he is, the Australian, who has been there or thereabouts throughout this current reign of Hugo Mola since 2019. And they picked up their first Brennus under him. And it has been pretty great ever since. They don't lose finals very often, Toulouse. They've won their last 6 in top 14. They've won the last couple in the Champions Cup as well. Added to the great generations of the past through the 90s and the early part of the new millennium. And off go Peter Aki here. Peter Aki's burst through. Yoram Mafada chasing after him. Again, that quick ball off the penalty given, and they're away. Dupont, Merkler. Just catches the defence off guard. They haven't set properly before all of a sudden there's a Toulouse man racing at them. Ramos, missed pass. Oh! And Blair Kinghorn, who managed to pick one off the turf, thrown to him last week by Antoine Dupont, can't do the same thing with an even longer throw from Thomas Ramos this weekend.
I think it was being called a forward pass in any case, but Toulouse just dangerous at any point. This was a good run from Peter Aki. Get them on the go forward, and at that point suddenly you see all the players light up. Suddenly the energy goes up. There's the forward pass. Kinghorn unable to bring it in, but it didn't blow a try as it was fought anyway. But gee, it's just the team that gets excited. They've got a great mindset, the attitude. That's what puts players in the right positions, is they're always looking for chances.
Well, a tremendous spot by Toulouse to bring him in from Edinburgh. And you can see that the Toulouse supporters already celebrating with 18 minutes to go. A 22-point advantage. 3 converted tries would still not get them back on level terms. It is a huge ask from here for Union Bordeaux Begles.
Même chose que là-bas.
Oh.
Même chose que les Blancs. Réengagement. À 10.
Well, the news from Ludovic Kerr, a little bit better for Union Bordeaux Begles as Abadi kicks them away from danger, but not into touch, and Blair Kinghorn takes it with space in front of him, and he bounces off 2 challenges. Another attacking platform set. Forward by Brennan. Dupont. Oh, again, there he is. He's always there to support, and that on the line by Roman Ntamack. Chip through, and Ramos is going to go there. And surely, if there was any doubt at all, there's none now. Toulouse will be the champions of 2024. Again, absolute perfection. Led by Dupont, backed up by Ntamack, and finished off by Thomas Ramos. The best team in France by far. The best team in Europe as well. And the plaudits just continue. Antoine Dupont has just ripped apart this Union Bordeaux Begles side.
Sublime skill, the timing. This is the second example of Dupont doing that, but beautiful skill from Ntamack as well. On the run, split-second decision, execution at pace, drops it to his wrong foot, the left foot, because he knew Ramos was on the inside. He got communication, everything worked perfectly, but that's not by chance. That is hours of work, hours of skill work, hours of combination work, and most importantly, the spirit of attack that this team displays constantly.
Well, the talk all season has been of Union Bordeaux Begles attack. But it's Toulouse who have taught them a lesson this evening. And Ramos, who scored 11 points in the last 20 minutes of the semi-final, has missed that one. That's 2 misses for him today, but it doesn't really matter.
Here's the first one. Look, he was... Oh, that's sorry, that is the second one again. Both times it looked like Dupont was going to kick. Heard a call, decided, no, I can give a little short ball, but he'd done one the previous phase to one of the forwards as well. He's relentless with his composure and his vision and his executing of the right option.
And his capacity to make the right decision every single time. Almost every single time. Adam Coleman off, Cyril Cazot has come back on again. Well, it's become a bit of a lap of honour now. Alexander Rouma has come off and is replaced by Verger. So then, is there a try in this game? Well, when Yoram Mafana starts making mistakes like that, you know that it's really bad. Here they come again, pouring through. They might be 27 points in front, but look at the aggression into the breakdown. Paul Costa is on for Peter Aki. Hardly a lesser threat.
Pablo Uberti was penalised for diving on that ball, which means that it must have been considered a ruck, because if the ball was just loose on the ground in general play, you can, of course, dive on that to secure it. So just possibly a little bit unlucky there, Bordeaux, and maybe the victim of perception from the referee. Toulouse was putting a huge amount of heat on. There's Roumar as well. He'll get another round of applause. Farther off.
So then another possibility here. 4 tries already, could have been 5. It could well be 5 now. How much will have UBB got left here to keep out this Toulouse side, who are now just playing for fun? What a take by Flamand, one-handed. And now the strength, the power, pushing up to the 5-metre line. Crowd excited again. Bordeaux Begles don't know where it's going. Round to the right, and they're over. Julien Marchand, the latest to get the 5-pointer. Another of these great players who really are part of this wonderful generation, building their own dynasty off the back of previous generations, and it was all because of that magnificent take at the line-out.
What do you say now? I mean, it's clinical, it's ruthless, it's just so precise and efficient and dynamic. And this is the dynamic end to what had been a composed and remorseless journey towards the line from that Toulouse forward pack. Now they've pretty much done everything tonight. Well, I say that, we've still got 13 minutes or 12 minutes left. Who knows what we might see. As you say, Angus, they're playing for fun and really are enjoying themselves out there. Ange Capuozzo's on as well. There's not going to be any less skill on show now.
Well, it's the depth, isn't it, as well, of the Toulouse side. I mean, Capuzzo has not actually played that much for Toulouse this season, the Italian international, but another flair player. So then with Blair Kinghorn, and he's missed that one as well. Well, the kick is the only thing that hasn't worked tonight for Toulouse. And you can see there now even Hugo Moller relaxing, and Yannick Moller, Yannick Bruges, who knew so much success as a player with Toulouse in the past, is on the sharp end of what they can do to him as a coach. Uberti, 11 minutes to go. Oh, they're throwing the ball around. Costes over the top, and here comes Kinghorn, the Scottish international, who was at such an amazing first season with Toulouse, gets his chance to get on the score sheet as well. A try scorer in the semi-final, and now a try scorer in the final. What a season it has been for him personally. And Toulouse are going to win the double for the third time in their history.
And gee, Angus, I said, what's next to score a try? They've completed the set. Well, they haven't scored from an intercept tonight. And there it was. It was Clément Verger who took the intercept. Cost cleverly getting the ball out wide to speed. He might have thought about having a go himself. Kinghorn's happy, not only for the try, but he gets the chance now to not go out from his season on a missed kick, which he thought he was going to after the last one. Always support in droves for Toulouse. That's what the attacking spirit is about. They react quickly, they get in support of one another quickly. They love keeping the ball alive.
Jack Willis trying to console Maxime Lucu, who made the mistake. Antoine Dupont off, surely the man of the match, the player of the match tonight. Huge roar for him. Paul Grau has come on to replace him. He's been a very able understudy this season. He's played really well when he's been given the chance, when Antoine Dupont has been away with the Sevens, when he was away as well at the World Cup earlier on in the season. It's been a very long season because of that World Cup in the middle of the autumn. And that ball has gone out. Robbie down there on the sidelines. It must be quite amazing scenes now on the Toulouse side of the dugout.
I was thinking maybe Hugo Moller's actually brought him off to rest him for the Olympics. Honestly, give him an extra 10 minutes, because he's going to go less than a month. He'll be playing sevens in the Olympics. It's just extraordinary. They've been so relaxed and so composed on the bench, just celebrating every try and everything that's happening down here. It really has been one-way traffic, and it's been so complicated for UBB. Honestly, I'm scared to just glance across the UBB bench.
I'm scared to look away from the action, because as soon as anything like that happens, immediately it goes piling down the other end. Picked up by Burros.
Julien Marchand kicked that, Angus. Thumped it.
Well, you might as well. Mathieu Jalibert looking on. It's been unfortunate for him. He got injured against Oyonnax. Maybe he shouldn't really have been on the pitch in that game, to be honest. It was an injury that perhaps was avoidable. I mean, it's not to say he wouldn't have got injured in the playoffs, but it seemed a little bit unnecessary, and it's what's created this sort of like doubt in a sense.
Yeah, Jelly Bear certainly has the keys to the truck, and it's changed their entire, I think, attitude and approach in the last couple of matches.
Yeah, the GPS has just gone off, hasn't it? A little bit of right. Nothing, something you can aim at Toulouse. They have been absolutely pinpoint perfect in all the important places that matter. Union Bordeaux Begles looked like a team. Really, I don't want to be unkind, but looked like they were a rabbit caught in the headlights. And those headlights are a juggernaut of Toulouse-like proportions. Again, they are at risk of conceding every time the ball comes forward, but they've managed to wrap that one up. Playing for Prideman, then they've lost the ball again. Brennan. More danger. Entermac goes for the corner. Capozzo. Wrapped up, though, by Nicolas Deporter. Grau playing fly half to Entermac scrum half there. Well, you've got hookers kicking. Everybody's changing position at the moment. Brennan, strong run. Inside the 5-metre line again. Kane Douglas trying to get that ball out. He's off his feet, though, has to leave it. Kroos, Ramos, knocked forward by Penaud. Back comes Marchand, brought down by his French international teammate. Grau, Ramos, Entermac, Capozzo, feeds it out wide. Claire Kinghorn just about manages to hold on to it, but that stopped him going forward. But not much else as Ramos again. Over he goes again. 7 tries in a final. No wonder he's shrieking for joy. Toulouse wrapping it up over and over again. And Maxime Lucu and Union Bordeaux Begles feel the pain of what is turning out to be a crushing defeat in their first ever Top 14 final.
No, they are just showing off now, aren't they, Toulouse? Good on them. They just, they know that anything can happen when they just keep playing and keep the ball alive. So long as they get their support there, which they've done. Even one player in support has been effective tonight at the breakdown. That's the key to it, the hard work behind all the flair that we see that turns into 5-pointers like this in the corner for Thomas Ramos. They've worked hard. These poor guys are out on their feet. The Bordeaux players, maybe 1 or even 2 games too far for them this season against a team with the depth and the quality, and tonight the possession and the efficiency and the discipline of Toulouse.
So Kinghorn missed his first attempt at goal. It's not easy, but he would be disappointed if he doesn't get it, and he hasn't got it. But again, 47 points, and they've left 10 points out on the pitch. Also.
And still 5 minutes to go. You wouldn't put it past Toulouse. I'd love to see Bordeaux get over the chalk for the work that they've put in this year, for the ability they have. They've been well and truly outclassed tonight, but it'd be great to see them get a try.
Chocobarre is coming off. Everybody in the squad getting a chance to participate in what is another glorious night in the story and the history of Stade Toulousain.
C'est bon, dire, c'est bon. Je vous le redirai pas une troisième fois.
Peter Aki is the man who's come back on again. Paul Grau goes aerial.
C'est le noir derrière pour moi.
Perfectly weighted kick from Paul Grau. Even at this stage, with a couple of minutes to go and up by 44 points, they still take pride in getting things accurate.
Well, last season, there was only 3 points between Toulouse and La Rochelle. La Rochelle had their hearts broken right at the end by Romain Entermac. Well, Union Bordeaux Begles, who were hoping, like La Rochelle last year, to get their first ever Brennus, well, they've never really been close. It is a very different match this time around. taken that well, though. I'm looking for scraps to be positive, really, for Union Bordeaux Begles, but it's been a tough night to do that. Capozzo, oh, fluid running from the Italian, and here they come again. It's gone backwards, says the referee, so they can keep going. Paul Costas still chasing his own kick, but in the end it goes out.
Well, maybe Paul Costa didn't realise that it had gone out off Bordeaux, because he chased that pretty hard. Nothing going right for Bordeaux at all. Capozzo, he's absolutely electrifying. Of course, only need to give him a sniff of a gap, and away he goes. Beating some pretty tired legs as well, but looking straight away for his support. They just switch on so quickly, Toulouse.
Didier Lacroix comes down and hugs the coach, Hugo Mola, who looks like he's close to tears. Man who followed after Guy Noves, the great father of this modern Toulouse side. And he's now taken it on. Here they come again. Raoul, Flamand looking for the offload. In the end, he has to keep it close. Marchand. And they're away again. And it's a try. Goodness me. David Aeno, the replacement loose head prop. Well, I think that Pierre Bocheton and his Bordeaux Begles side will be quite happy if they blew the whistle now. And this is becoming one of the biggest thumpings that this final has ever seen. It's a humiliation for Bordeaux Begles. Maxime Lucu, the hero of last week, powerless this week.
Angus, the biggest defeat that we've had in a final, French Championship final, was 2006, 40-13, Biarritz beating Toulouse.
Nicely done, yes. Goodness me. Well, if there was any doubt about the supremacy of Toulouse, well, this surely undoes it. It took them a long time to go to the top of the regular season this time around, as they juggled all of the various priorities, not just for the team but for their individual players. But they came good when it counts, and that is something that Toulouse have done historically in this modern era. They know when to turn it on.
It looks like Romain Ntamak back on the field to take this last kick.
That's the easy one, straight through.
Oh, Robbie, like you said, 27 points was the previous biggest margin, and that was 18 years ago, and this has almost been doubled. 51 points, and we saw it on Damien Penaud's face. A little bit of disbelief. You can maybe only laugh at some things like this.
Disbelief on the face of Laurent Marty as well. The president, who was the man who steadied this club when they became an entity in itself, helped them through the financial problems, helped build one of the biggest fan bases in France. But this is perhaps just going to be a learning curve. Nothing more than that. They've got to take something positive from this. The season when they made it to the final for the first time ever as Union Bordeaux Begles. Can they come up with anything? Just want to try, just something. As Yoram Mafana gets brought down by Coste and gets up again and carries on. He's allowed to carry on as well. He wasn't being held. Good run by the French international. Something we haven't really seen from him in this game, Mars, because he hasn't been allowed to. Finally, a little bit of running here from Bordeaux Begles. Uberti, Burros trying to come through, and he's dropped it as well. And that rather ends it. And that's been the way it's been all through. Here comes Muvaka, the hooker, bursting through to the other hooker, Marshall. Capozzo racing through. Capozzo still doesn't need anybody else. He's in the corner. And the biggest ever victory in the final is finished off after the 80 minutes by the little Italian flyer. Unbelievable. Begles made to look like a relegation side by the stratospheric talent of the ensemble of Stade Toulousain.
Well, Angus, I have literally seen everything now. The atmosphere is surreal, really. Even amongst the jubilation of the Toulouse supporters, nobody could have imagined this kind of a scoreline. And I was about to say how proud Toulouse would be for even right at the end, up by almost 50 points, defending, 51 points, defending so hard to keep Bordeaux from crossing their line. And then they go 100 metres.
Emmanuel Merfou smiles. He didn't get to play tonight, but he's still as happy as anybody. Look what Oscar puts on his, he's smiling as he's wrapping Damien Penaud up in knots. Even Antoine Dupont liked that one.
Well, they've turned from defence into attack as they take the final kick at goal, just misses to the left, but they turned it into attack. The support play got them there over 100 metres. What a way to ice the cake, Angus.
And that's it. It's a 23rd Brennus, a record extending quantity for Stade Toulousain in a dominant performance that even they can't believe they've done. Incredible try count, so many try scorers, but led by Antoine Dupont. An incredible game that Bordeaux Begles will remember with a fair amount of sadness, even though there's pride at having reached the final for the first time. But I'm afraid that the masters really gave the pupils a lesson that they will remember and maybe be scarred by for a long time to come. At full time, it has finished Toulouse 59, Bordeaux Begles 3. 59, Andrew. I mean, that is in a final.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I don't think words can do that justice, really, from Toulouse. Based on, obviously, the ability to score tries and score points, but the defence has been impressive tonight. To not allow your opposition to cross the try line in a final will be a source of immense pride for Toulouse. And then all the work of the unsung heroes. Yes, we saw a couple outside at the end, we saw a couple of tries from Antoine Dupont, but it was the take it forward, no nonsense from Peter Aki, the defence of Aki and Chocobares in the midfield. All those little moments from the unsung heroes that added up tonight to this Toulouse domination.
Yeah, Adam, we're not going to look at the scoreline. Adam, we don't really need to look at the scoreline, but can you explain what happened out there? We had a chat at half-time, but, you know, what happened in the second half? Couldn't quite get back into this game.
Yeah, exactly, mate. They had all the momentum, and we struggled to hold that. Yeah, full credit to Toulouse. They're a quality side. They've gone back-to-back now, so yeah, full credit to them.
Now, talk to me about this Bordeaux team. You got yourself past that hurdle, that very difficult semi-final. You got yourself into a final. What lessons have you learned from this? You understood that, you know, you've got to raise your game, you've got to approach this final in a different way?
Yeah, first of all, full credit to our coaches. They've been tremendous all year, and our players. First final for Bordeaux. Even though very incredibly disappointing to finish our season this way. The boys are hurting, but I'm so proud of the group. They've achieved a lot this year. Yeah, it's going to hurt for a while, but yeah.
Do you think it was one game too many?
Pardon?
Do you think it was one game too many, 6-day turnaround?
Oh, mate, we were here to win. We're not making any excuses. Full credit to Toulouse, and yeah, full credit.
Thanks very much for your time, Adam. Take care.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Well, Bordeaux were able to become the 10th team to lift the Brennus Shield since the dawning of the professional era.
Congratulations. Thank you. In English, just 2 quick questions for Canada, please. Is that okay? Antoine, congratulations. That was a clinical masterclass, typical Toulouse rugby, but an outstanding performance. What does it mean to you to do it, to get another double?
Unbelievable. It's insane for all the group, all the club. all the guys, we really wanted to win this trophy, and we started very well the game. I think with a lot of intensity, a very good defense, which offered us a lot of penalties, and we scored several tries quickly. And after, when we have the score, it's easier.
I don't know whether to call you a French wizard or a French rugby Einstein, but your amazing ability to just pop those passes, get everybody involved. Tell us about that a little bit and how you can do that on the pitch.
I made a lot of mistakes today also. I think I am lucky to play in this club, to play with this guy every day. It's very challenging. We really want to be better every day, and that's why we are motivated to win trophies again and again and again, I hope.
And Ugo Mola, your coach, took you off with 10 minutes to go. Is that to give you a bit of a rest ahead of the Olympics?
Yeah, that's what he told me. So I hope I will be good in 1 month.
We're looking forward to seeing you for the Olympics. Félicitations. Thank you so much. Merci.
Thanks.